Hello, everyone. First of all, I just want to say that was incredible. Everybody who's spoken today has been absolutely incredible. Unbelievable. I mean, just think about it. This was all organized by these young people. A 15-year-old, a 17-year-old, an 18-year-old, using their voices to bring everybody here together to listen. To me, personally, that is incredible, and that gives me so much hope for the future, and to know that our youth are mobilizing, and they're using their voices to make the world a better place. My name is Uyi Omorogbe. I'm a first-generation Nigerian American. I grew up in Nisky, although I didn't go to Nisky schools. But I wanted to talk to you guys today because, as most of you know, everybody's been observing, the dialogue that's been happening across the country, right? And as I've been observing this dialogue, I've been thinking to myself, there's one thing that's been lacking across everyone's dialogue, and that one thing is empathy. And so I wanted to really share a few stories with you today to hopefully invoke empathy within all of you, so that we can come to a better understanding of one another. So the first story I'm going to share with you guys today is a story of my little cousin. His name is Ife. He is 6 years old now. And a few years ago, I was at Great Escape. You guys know Great Escape. And I was at the Great Escape, and we were playing a game, and I won. And he wanted to choose a prize, right? And he's looking at all the toys that are up on the wall, and he goes, "Ooey, I want that one." And he pointed to this silver toy gun, right? And I said, "Ife, no, that's not a good one. Choose another one." He said, "No. I really want that one. Can I please have it? Can I please have it?" I said, "No, choose another toy." He said, "No. I said, "Choose another toy." Right? I got upset. I got so angry that this 6-year-old kid just wanted to be a kid. But he doesn't know that maybe if he plays with that toy and he's out in the park, that people may profile him. What is this kid doing? Is that a gun? Is that a gun in his hand? And the police will show up and shoot him like they did to Mir Rice. That is a 6-year-old boy that I am angry at for not understanding what that toy could do to him. That's one story. Another story that I wanted to share was when I was a 13-year-old boy with my father. I was going to my first soccer practice with a new team, and I'm so excited. I'm in the car. I'm extremely excited, right? And we're about 5 minutes out from our destination when we notice a cop car start to follow us. I'm thinking to myself, my dad's looking into the rearview mirror. He's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "It's all right. We didn't do anything wrong. Let's just keep going." We finally arrive at the destination. We're at the parking lot of the soccer field, and the cops are still following us right into the parking lot. My dad said, "Uy, it's okay. Just go to practice. Have a good time." Okay, fair enough. I open the door. The cop then gets out the car with his hand on his gun and says, "Get back in the car!" To which I stand confused, scared, like a deer in headlights, thinking to myself, I wasn't really thinking, to be honest. I was frozen. And that's when he noticed, hey, this is a 13-year-old boy carrying a soccer ball with his soccer cleats on. And he asked me, "Are you going to soccer practice?" I said, Yes, I am." He didn't say anything else. He got back in his car with his partner and drove off. And here I am standing, feeling as though I'm something that I'm not, feeling like a criminal, and I'm in a majority, white soccer team that's new, and they're looking at me thinking, what is it? Like, who are these people here now? And that's a psychological damage that's been done to me as I'm trying to prove myself on the soccer field, and people are looking at me like I'm something that I'm not because I was racially profiled along with my father. That's a second story. Now, I want you guys to understand that as black people, it doesn't matter how educated you are, it doesn't matter how smart you are, that you're never able to really avoid being racially profiled or being racially targeted. I was at Colgate University, a predominantly white university. About 2 years ago, I'm walking to the dining hall, and a car pulls up to me. I effing hate black people. I effing hate them, filled with white students. They drive off. I'm there with one of my white friends. She starts crying, thinking, what's going on? I didn't even cry. I was like, well, this is just the world that I live in. I was numb to it almost. But then I started realizing the psychological damage that caused when I'm sitting in a classroom, we're having class discussions, and I'm looking around the table, and I'm the only black face at the table. And I'm thinking to myself, was anybody in this classroom in that car? Does this guy even want to hear me speak? Does my teacher want to hear me speak? Do I belong here? Is this a place where I should be? Right? Those are the psychological things that black people have to go through. That's another story. There's another story that I want to share that I know you guys are familiar with one part of it, but I'm not too sure if you're familiar with the second. There's a boy named George Stinney, and in the 1950s, he was killed in an electric chair, sentenced to death. George Stinney was 14 years old, and in his neighborhood, 2 young white girls were killed. They could not find the perpetrators, so the police went to his house and said, "You did it," to a 14-year-old boy. They took him to jail, they sentenced him to death, and they killed him. Okay, that's in 1950. Now let's fast forward to 2020, where a young black man is jogging in a neighborhood. Now, there's allegedly been some robberies, in that neighborhood, and a few white people think, look at this black guy jogging in this neighborhood. He shouldn't be here. This is probably the guy that's been doing all these alleged robberies. So they get in their car with their guns, and they stalk him. They approach him, and they shoot him in broad daylight, and they kill him. And if it wasn't for one of the fools having a video and incriminating themselves by taking a video, nobody would know who Ahmaud Arbery is, right? He would just be just another person. The police knew about it. Did they arrest the people? They did not. So that's another case of people, saying that you're guilty for something that you are not guilty for and sentencing you to death. So now when I go out and I jog in my predominantly white neighborhood, I think to myself, let me put on a mask. Let me be like the most jolly guy ever. And hey, how are you, ma'am? How are you doing? I just want to make sure you know that I'm not a threat to you, because I don't want somebody to think, hey, this guy's a problem. Let's call the police, right? People are weaponizing police against black people because they know that it's something that they should fear. If you don't think there's a problem with that, then you need to do some serious self-introspection, right? First of all, I'm extremely excited to see this many people out here just to want to listen, because I think that's what happens too many times, right? Nobody really wants to listen. And racism, as I'm seeing now, and what bothers me the most is that racism is not a topic to be debated. I'm seeing, on my social media, people saying, oh, well, this amount of people is doing this, and look at the statistics here. Like, statistics can be warped to whatever conversation and whatever topic that you want to talk about to support your fact. This is not about a debate. This is about listening. This is about educating yourself. This is about really, truly invoking empathy within yourself so that you can better understand the people around you. And it's only through that I think that we can actually understand each other as human beings and move forward. But if we continue to sweep racism under the rug as if it's something that does not exist, then people will continue to die, right? So when somebody talks to you about these type of things, please, I'm begging you, do not say, oh, well, look what's happening in these black communities. Right? She touched on something called intersectionality, right? And again, I told you I went to Colgate University. This is something that for some reason I can never wrap my head around. We talk about drug use in this country. We talk about the war on drugs. We want to talk about institutional racism. This is something I struggle to think about it because it makes me so upset. People said, oh, there are people doing drugs in the 1970s, whatever it was. Let's go into these low-income black communities, search for people doing drugs, and lock them up and throw them in jail, right? Let's incarcerate them. That's why you have this mass incarceration. When I went to Colgate University, a predominantly white school filled with very affluent kids, I thought to myself, this is going to be a very nice place. I get there are kids doing drugs left and right. Left and right. And I'm thinking to myself, why is it that people that look like me in these low-income communities are going to jail for these infringements, yet these kids are doing it recreationally and not fearing anything? Why is it that the world sees, when they think drug dealer, they think a black person sitting on the corner of the street selling drugs, where I see these white, rich kids selling drugs to each other every single day with no fear of repercussion? Why is that the case? Because we choose to see what we want to see. If you want to look for crime, and you think, oh, the crime's going to be in the black neighborhood, and you're going to search the black neighborhood, yes, it will appear as though there's more crime happening in that black neighborhood. But the reality is, that's not true, right? You will find what you are looking for. So first of all, I just want to say thank you guys so much for listening to me today. I really appreciate it. But again, please listen to people of color who are speaking to you. Do not war with them. Do not try to go back and forth with them. Do not try to debate them. Because what I told you today, I did not tell you any statistics. All I told you were experiences. And for me, that is fact. That is the life that I live. That's what I have to go through. So there's no debating that. So again, please listen and think to yourself. My goal here today is just for everybody to leave today. And yes, donating is good. All that stuff is good. But but I really want you to have a self-introspective conversation with yourself and think to yourself, before you go to bed, by yourself, this has to be with anybody, and just think, was he right? Were these kids today right? Do I really benefit from all these things? And if so, how do I dismantle the institutions that put these things in place? Right? That's the type of mindset, that's the type of shift in paradigm that we need to have. And if we have that, then the world would be a better place. So, thank you.
Hello, my name is Shamaya Walker. I'm a Schenectady High School student. Today I'm here to speak my truth for my people. Sorry, I'm not that tall. I'm a black woman. Black comes in all shades. I stand with black women. I protest for black women. I protest for black men. You guys, this is a majority white rally. I'm sorry if I offended anyone, but I said what I said. White supremacy. That's what I want to talk to you about today. You guys see black people as like a bother to the world. I want you to ask yourself, do you want to be treated the way a black American, a black citizen, someone who has their rights, someone who built this country is treated today? Can you raise your hand and tell me if you want to be treated like a black citizen in America? That proves my point. People see black people as a black minority when we're the global majority. You have to be the people to make this change. It is not just black people. It's black people, it's white people, it's Latino people, it's Hispanic people, it's Arabic people, and so many others. We cannot be the only people at the front line. If you guys ignore the things that you see, the things that you know is happening in the world today, then you are just as bad as that officer with his knee in George Floyd's neck. You cannot silence yourself. People say racism has gotten worse. It's only been recorded. You know that this is happening. Speak your truth. Stand up for the black people around you. I'm sure that some people, you have black friends, black family members, black co-workers. You know that there are things happening to them and their people, and you sit back in silence because you're scared of what someone else is going to think. I watched a video the other day of a black woman watching a black guy tear down this black woman. And she sat there for a second and she put his ass in check. Do you know how much strength and power that took for a black woman in her position as a police officer to check someone else doing the wrong thing? So for you, as a regular person, as someone who's not wearing a badge or a blue uniform, you should be able to check someone and tell them you're out of line. Don't get me started with the N-word, because there's people in here who have said it. Black people, we say the N-word, we have reclaimed that, yes. And most people's argument is, well, you shouldn't say it either. You can't tell me what I can say, because when I say the N-word, when I say nigger, I am referring to a friend, someone who I know, someone who I trust, and someone who I know is not out to hurt me. When you say it, it's a double meaning. You can mean it as a friend, but really you can be saying that you're lower than me. You want us to rise up. You're here because you want to see a change, but be that change you want to see. You can come to this rally and you can say, I want to learn. You can kneel with us. You can kneel for us. But if you don't sit back, if you don't stand, if you don't kneel with us, if you don't check the people that need to be checked, you're here for no reason. Don't waste your time and don't waste mine. Be the change you want to see. Stop allowing things to just fly by you. You've heard someone say a slur. You know that it's wrong because you felt uncomfortable hearing it. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Talk about things that you know matter. Speak your truth. Thank you. My name is Shemaya Walker.